In the ancient land of Tamilgam, beyond time and the physical world, lived a mystic. He spoke just once every 100 years, each word a verse of wisdom. His name was Tirumoolar, the Siddhar who turned deep silence into sacred words, the forgotten sage of Kailash. He was born in Kailash as Sundarnathar. One day, when he came to Tamil land, he saw a group of cows crying beside their dead herdsman. Moved by deep compassion, he left his own body and entered the herdsman's body to care for the cows. From that moment on, he became known as Tirumoolar. Tirumoolar was not an ordinary sage. He had experienced the deep silence of Mount Kailash, where even the wind feels like a prayer. When he came to Tamilgam, he made a promise not to speak until the world was ready to hear the truth. So, he chose silence. But once every year, on the holy night of Mahashivratri, he came out of meditation and wrote just one verse. He did this for 3,000 years. Each verse was filled with deep wisdom, like a light for those who were ready to understand. His words were few, but they held the power of a lifetime of truth.
திருமந்திரம் பாடல் 552 அட்டாங்க யோகத்தின் 8 கூறுகள். நயமுறு பிராணாயா மம்பிரத்தி யாகாரன் சயமிகு தாரணை தியானன் சமாதி அயமுறும் அட்டாங்க மாவது மாமே.
This verse lists the 8 limbs of yoga. It names the components as yam, ethical restraints, niyama, disciplines, countless asana, postures, wholesome pranayam, breath control, and equally pratyahara, sense withdrawal, as well as intense dharana, concentration, dhyana, meditation, and samadhi, absorption. These 8 limbs together form the sturdy framework of the yogic path. In essence, Tirumoolar is enumerating Patanjali's eightfold path, emphasizing that a yogi must practice all 8 aspects to attain triumph in yoga. Each limb builds upon the previous, leading the seeker from moral foundation through breath mastery and inner focus to the ultimate samadhi state.
திருமந்திரம் பாடல் 551 அட்டாங்க யோகம் தரும் பயன். தன்னெறி சென்று சமாதியிலே நின்மின் நன்னெறி செல்வார்க்கு ஞானத்திலேகலாம் புன்னெறியாக்கத்திற்போக்கில்லையாகுமே.
This verse urges the aspirant not to waver between paths but to follow firmly the 8-limbed yoga. By steadily treading this path and attaining the samadhi state, the yogi reaches the peak of spiritual wisdom. Tirumoolar says that those who walk this righteous path will easily attain jnana, enlightenment, and thereafter no rebirth awaits them in this lowly fleshly body. In other words, mastery of Ashtanga Yoga leads to liberation from the cycle of birth and death.
திருமந்திரம் பாடல் 564 பிராணன் என்ற குதிரையை அடக்கும் யோகி. உய்யக் கொண்டேறும் குதிரை மற்றொன்றுண்டு மெய்யர்க்குப் பற்றுக் கொடுக்கும் கொடாது போய் பொய்யரைத் துள்ளி விழுத்திடுந்தானே.
This verse uses a horse metaphor for the life breath. It says the breath, prana, is like a steed that the Lord of the 5 senses rides for his own salvation. For the true yogis, this prana horse can be reined in and offers a firm support, but for those who are untruthful or unprepared, the wild horse throws them off, causing their downfall. In simple terms, prana is a powerful force when mastered with steady control. It carries the yogi to liberation, but if left untamed it leads the ignorant astray. The yogi is advised to mount the steed of breath and guide it steadily for upliftment.
திருமந்திரம் பாடல் 571 சுவாசக் கட்டுப்பாட்டால் மரணத்தை வெல்வது. காற்றைப் பிடிக்கும் கணக்கறிவாரில்லை, காற்றைப் பிடிக்கும் கணக்கறி வாளர்க்குக் கூற்று யுதைக்கும் குறியதுவாமே.
This verse proclaims the victory over death through breath control. It observes that though the breath goes up and down, rising with inhalation, settling with exhalation, few understand the proper measure or timing to catch and restrain it. But those wise ones who do grasp the science of regulating breath are able to kick away yam, death. In other words, by mastering the rhythm of inhalation and exhalation, the art of Vasi pranayam, the yogi conquers the influence of death. Tirumoolar implies that regulated breathing bestows longevity and even immortality. The adept who perfectly balances the breath is no longer subject to the fear of death, achieving a deathless state through breath mastery.
திருமந்திரம் பாடல் 580 கூர்ந்தளவில் இருப்பது குண்டலினி சக்தி. பாலித்த யோனிக்கிருவிரர் கீழ் நின்ற கோலித்த குண்டலி உள்ளெழுஞ் சென்றுடர் நாலத்து நாபிக்கு நால்விரர் கீழதே.
Here Tirumoolar describes the location of the Kundalini Shakti in the body. He says the coiled energy called Kundali resides as a red flame in the Muladhara, specifically a few finger breadths above the base, Mooldharam, and a few finger breadths below the navel. In essence, Kundalini is the dormant divine power at the root center. When awakened, this fiery energy rises through the yogic centers. By indicating the precise location, the distance of 4 fingers below the navel, the verse guides the yogi's focus to where Kundalini lies coiled. The imagery of a flame suggests that when aroused, Kundalini ascends like a fire illuminating the 7 centers, meaning red flame rising through the 7. This sets the stage for Kundalini Yoga, wherein awakening this energy leads to spiritual illumination and transformation of the body.
திருமந்திரம் பாடல் 612 காய் சித்தி மரணம் அகற்றிய உடல் சோகஸ்மைலி. தண்டுடன் ஓடித் தலைப்பட்ட யோக மண்டல 3 உக்க வளர்ந்தபின் பிண்டமும் ஊழி பிரியாதிருக்குமே.
This verse speaks of achieving an immortal body, Kaya Siddhi, through advanced yogic practice. It says that for a yogi who keeps steadfast discipline and unites breath and mantra, runs the energy up the spinal staff without faltering, and who raises the life force equally through all 3 mandalas, the sun, moon and fire channels, the physical body, PM, will remain undecaying through the ages. In simple terms, when Kundalini energy is fully awakened and ascends through all the chakras, the yogi's body is transformed, it no longer decays or disintegrates over time. Tirumoolar implies that such a perfected yogi attains a deathless body, immune to the effects of time. This is the ultimate Kaya Siddhi, where the yogi's mortal frame is divinized and does not fall apart even over an aeon. Thus, by Kundalini ascent and yogic intensity, one achieves a body as immortal and pure as spirit.
மாந்தாஸ் சக்காஸ் நா பிந்து. திருமந்திரம் பாடல் 731 மந்திரத்தின் இரகசிய நாதமும் பிந்துவும். முரப்பெற வேனினைந்து ஓதுன் சகார மறிப்பது மந்திர மன்னிய நாத மரப்பெற யோகிக்கர நெறியாமே.
This mystical verse encodes the relationship between mantra, bindu, and nda. It suggests that in the sacred mantra, the bindu, the seed point of sound, shines in the letter A, akra, and by correctly intoning the sa, sakara, another syllable, without obstruction, one activates the mantra's power. The nada, the subtle sound current inherent in the mantra, is said to put an end to death, literally, the nda abiding in the mantra averts death. In essence, the mantra's sacred sound, nda, when perfected, conquers our mortality. The verse concludes that forgetting worldly attachments through this mantranda is the noble path for the yogi to attain the deathless state. In simpler terms, Tirumoolar is revealing that each syllable of a mantra, here hinted by A and Sa, contains cosmic forces, Nda, divine sound vibration, and Bindu, the concentrated point of energy. When a yogi meditates on these inner vibrations, for example, the primal sound Om or the 5-letter Shiva mantra, the mantra's Nda unfolds the chakras and unites one with the divine. The yogi's consciousness merges into the sound seed, resulting in freedom from the cycle of death. Thus, mantra japa, recitation, is not mere words but a deep journey. The sound, Nda, leads inward to the seed light, Bindu, granting spiritual realization and an immortal essence to the practitioner. The ancient Tamil text Tirumandiram, from the Shaiva Siddhant tradition, teaches a powerful truth. You are not a sinner, you are actually divine. You are Shiva in human form, but that truth is covered up. Covered by layers of ego, fear, desire, and false beliefs. These layers are like clouds hiding the sun. Through practices like breath control, meditation, and mantra chanting, you remove those layers, one by one. When they're gone, what's left is love, peace, and the pure light of Shiva within you. But many people today don't know about this scripture. Why? Because it speaks in a symbolic way, not directly. It uses poetic language that takes time and patience to understand. It's not for people who want fast answers. And it holds a deep secret, the path to Kaya Siddhi, a yogic state where the body becomes pure and deathless. That's why it was kept quiet for centuries, not lost, just protected until the right people were ready. The flame still burns. He may have written only one verse a year. But one verse from eternity can change a lifetime.